¿Qué pasa, mi gente? Eduardo the Bucket Shooter here with you today. Thank you for joining me for another episode. We're going to be going over what you need in order to fly these drones commercially and as a hobby, legally, safely, and hopefully keeping you out of trouble. Again, guys, disclaimer, I don't know everything. You must read regulations and the laws involving this. This is meant to be a down and dirty, quick snippet of what you need to be aware of when you buy your drone or when you're shopping around. Here we go. Okay, first off, why am I going over this? So I've ran into a few issues with a lot of people not knowing what they're doing. Fellow photographers, videographers, I see them flying in unsafe manners and in places that you're not supposed to fly. And it really does ruin it for all of us as a community. So if we don't know what we're doing and we're just going out there just shooting from the hip, what's going to end up happening is you're going to create these scenarios where the FAA is going to come after you, and once they see that they had this incident, they're going to go ahead and put a halt to it across the board, right? And implement more policies that we really don't want to have to read if we don't have to. So again, guys, if one of us does it, all of us pay. So please abide by these laws and regulations that are in place currently in order for us to continue to have a positive experience. Okay, number one of the basic rules that you cannot fly this drone higher than 400 feet above the ground level, AGL. So please don't go out there just flying it way up. 400 feet above ground level, within 400 feet of any structure. What this means is that you can fly 400 feet above a building as long as it's within a 400-foot radius of that building, of said building. So again, guys, basic rule, don't fly above 400 feet above ground level. Number two, if you're going to be doing anything for commercial use, including YouTube, which I know that you're probably not making money on YouTube, but it's hopefully leading to monetization, commercial use, advertising, things like that, you need a Part 107. Now, the Part 107, you can receive that from the FAA, and this is really your drone pilot's license. You need this in order to conduct any sort of commercial work within your business or just out and about. So even if you're taking cash, it doesn't matter, you're going to need a Part 107. This tends to hang people up because they don't want to go do it. It's just something that's just like, oh, dreadful. It's really not that hard, guys. There's plenty of courses and material out there to help you. Please get it. This is going to save you thousands of dollars in fines for your clients, which are also liable depending on the work that you're doing for them. So again, guys, ensure that you have your Part 107 if you're doing anything or plan on doing anything commercial-wise. Number two, all right, guys, this one gets me because if you know me, I'm big into traveling and going to national parks and seeing wildlife and really appreciating wildlife for what it is and the beauty of it. And unfortunately, I've seen a lot of photographers and videographers flying drones within national park boundaries. Now, national parks are an absolute no-go. The only way you're going to ever get a waiver for this is if it has to do with research and development or some sort of safety, search and rescue. Those are really the only times that the FAA is going to grant you waivers. You can always request waivers, but they might get denied. But it never hurts to ask. Ask, just don't fly without that waiver. It absolutely kills me to see people flying drones within Grand Teton National Park, Glacier National Park, Yellowstone National Park. This is an absolute no-no. And if you're caught, you face fines, potential prison time. It is a federal offense, and just all sorts of things that are just going to ruin videography, photography for you and others around you. There's just going to have to be more regulations with drones and whether they have beacons, beaconing out. And so, yeah, guys, just don't fly in or around national parks. It's absolutely not cool. Number four is big. It's airspace. So you have Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, and Echo, as well as Golf. Certain airspaces are controlled airspace, meaning that you have to get prior authorization before entering that airspace. That being said, you can't fly a drone within the airspace without a proper waiver or prior authorization. So in big cities like, let's say, Salt Lake City, Utah, you can't fly within a certain radius from the airport because it falls within that Bravo airspace. You can request a waiver, and oftentimes they'll grant it. They'll put up a DROTM. That way any pilots as well as air traffic controllers know that you were there and they can divert or work around your flying zone. Understand VFR sectionals. So your visual flight reference sectionals have some very useful tools within that to know and understand airspace. Don't just trust the apps that come with these drones and that you use to fly these drones, because oftentimes what they'll do is they'll say, and I know you've seen it and I see it all the time, is they'll say, hey, this is a high risk zone. Do you understand that you are taking full risk authority? Fly at your own risk, basically. So if you happen to do something stupid or run into somebody or cause any property damage, or let's just say like the incident down in Vegas where the guy's drone literally home beaconed back onto the tarmac of the international airport there. Not a good time, not good to have, and especially without any authorizations or waivers, you're gonna be hurting. So don't just trust these apps. Understand VFR sectionals. They come with a legend. It breaks it down for you so you understand certain points of interest and things to be aware of in that airspace that you're going to be flying. Okay, number 5, guys. Okay, so along with airspace often comes events and safety. So you cannot fly drones over crowds without waiver or proper risk mitigation. So the FAA is going to request that you go online, request a waiver for whatever event it might be, and you need to have certain mitigating factors that are going to help them understand that, hey, it's a low risk activity. Waiver is huge with the FAA. It covers your butt should an incident happen, as well as your insurance, should you have insurance for a business, which I hope you do, FYI. Should you have insurance, they're going to also want to know, hey, did you take proper precaution throughout the entire event before, this drone fell on somebody's head? Protect yourself. All right, number 6, wildlife refuges. So wildlife refuges require pilots to stay 2,000 feet above the ground, meaning if you have a 13,000 foot mountain and it falls within a national wildlife refuge, then you're gonna have to be at 15,000 feet minimum in order to maintain the altitude for that regulation. Obviously, we can't fly drones 2,000 feet above the ground unless some crazy waiver happens and you're able to get it. And especially when the FAA sees that you're going to be flying in a national wildlife refuge, they're going to be like, what are you doing, dude? So wildlife refuges, stay away from them as well. Number 7, I need to learn how to count. So number 7, military operating airspaces. So going back to the airspace that we just talked about and understanding your sectionals and how to read these tools that the FAA has out there for you are readily accessible to you. Understand, military operating airspace, just stay away from it with drones. You will be in a huge world of hurt if you operate anywhere near or in military operating airspace. Just stay away from going in. Don't do it. Don't think about it. Don't even request it. Just stay away from it. Number 8, there we go. So number 8 is line of sight. So you have to maintain visual line of sight of your drone, whether it's you or somebody that's helping you co-pilot. This drone has to maintain line of sight. So with your first person view drones like this FPV drone right here, if I'm going to be flying it while I have my goggles on, legally speaking, you have to have somebody next to you maintaining visual reference of the drone itself. So you can't fly it out 5 miles away. And these drones are amazing because you can actually do some crazy, crazy long stuff. You have to maintain line of sight. So I highly recommend getting binoculars to try to keep track of it at further distances. So number 9 is going to be weather. If there's weather out there, you fall into intermittent meteorological conditions, especially if you can't maintain line of sight. Once you go into the clouds, you are no longer legal flying and you must exit that flight condition as soon as possible. In order for you to fly in weather, you would have to have instrument meteorological conditions. You're going to have to file flight plans with the FAA. You're going to have to be able to squawk certain transponder codes in order for them to see where your drone or aircraft is at during that time period. So with that being said, guys, don't fly in weather. It's unsafe. You can't see where you're going. If there's another plane flying through, they might smack your drone in the middle of weather, and that is not a fun time, especially you don't want to be responsible for that sort of damage or potential fatalities. Number 10, we're going to go over, and this is actually something that I probably should have covered in the beginning. If you're going to be flying commercially, your drone has to have its own identifying number, or kind of like UIC, that the FAA gives you. This number, and I'll cover mine up. Okay, so there's a number right there. I'm not gonna show it for obviously security reasons, but this number must be stamped or visually on your drone somehow in order for it, if it goes down or if it gets caught up in something, they know whose it is and to track you. For any sort of commercial use, you have to have this serial number that's specifically given to you by the FAA when you register your drone for commercial use, and it must be on your drone when you're out there flying any sort of commercial jobs under your Part 107. I just wanted you to understand a little bit of what you're going to need to be aware of when flying. It's very down and dirty. Again, guys, 100% go read the regulations, go into the FAR AIM, read the Part 107, get to know your VFR sectionals, understand what kind of airspace you have around you, and understand that you can't go flying like freaking John Wayne through national parks or anything like that. So guys, fly safe out there, read your regulations, get to know what you're flying. Drones are so easily accessible to all of us now, but in order for us to maintain a safe community and enjoyable flying experiences, we have to understand the rules and regulations that fall into this in order for us to maintain use of all of our equipment freely. So again, guys, thanks for following. Hopefully you hit that subscribe button, and until next time,